Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Gamma World review. This time, I'm going to review Gamma World Second Edition. So far, I'm actually really loving this version. As a matter of fact, I think they did a much better job this time around than the very first version. Mind you, the first version was way back in 1978, and it in a lot of ways, it's very free form to play and leaves a whole lot up to the GM and players. However, this version is just a little bit. It's not really all that much different. It's just in some cases the format is better and easier to read and understand. But unfortunately, in other places, it's absolutely kind of terrible. I'll go into that in just a moment. But I've got the basic book and the first introductory adventure, along with some things that really should have been put in the first book, general equipment tables and loot tables and all the charts, etc. I really wish it was in the first book, but otherwise, not too bad. The basic adventure, wasn't a big fan of it, but I rarely like adventure modules. This one is really no exception. It's just not for me. But anybody else who wants to run this particular version of Gamma World, I actually kind of recommend that you run it. Just unless you're like me, a control freak, and you absolutely want to create everything on your own. There's nothing wrong with this adventure. It's just not my style or my taste. I have completely different ideas for at least the next Gamma World game I'm going to run, and all the games I've run before. I did run this once, many years ago, but some of the things I don't like, I'll go in real quick. Not to beat a dead horse or anything, but for the most part, it's definitely a lot better than the first game. And if numbers are different and saving throws and a few little things like that are different, they're probably through playtesting proved to be a little bit better. And mind you, this is a really old beat up copy. I'd love to get another version of it through drive-through, but I'm not sure how I feel about drive-through, and I don't know if I can actually get this game reprinted from them. But right off the bat, the mutations, that's where it really shined for me. The explanation and the details and just more information and facts about the mutations, including the fact that the time, I think it's called time manipulation, is in here. Just an absolutely staggeringly powerful ability, being able to go forward or backwards in time up to not just decades, but a couple hundred years if you get really lucky and that's what you're shooting for. So you could basically go back to whatever caused the apocalypse and just not exist there, I suppose. Or you can go 250 years into the future where the world is now a better place, I guess. I think it's kind of an OP power to put in there. However, the equipment section is just kind of awful. It should have been just like the mutations, where everything has, the name, the range, duration, the number, type, use, damage, all these kinds of things, these pieces of information should have been in the book in a different format when they go into the description excuse me, of the equipment. Instead, it's all text format and kind of jumbled up together. I'm going to go into that in just a second. Just wanted you guys to get a nice look. Is that... Yeah, time manipulation. You only have a 10% chance of actually going up to 250 years, but, say you wanted to go 100 years into the future or the past, 20% chance. You just keep trying until you get it right. But then over here, when it comes to the equipment, where is that? All the other rules are much more clarified and easier to find with nice, big bold type and things like that. And all the other rules really good, but then the normal, like a lot of the equipment here is okay, but the information should have been more of a chart for each item. Just run down. They all have the same, damage, range, things like that. But the text here, but then over here, when you start getting into the other kinds of equipment, if you look here, it's just torches, candles, lantern. It's all jumbled up in just this weird paragraph form with just really bold print. But then it just rambles on with the different types of equipment here, and we all know what a torch does, but it should have just been like spaces in between each item to make it so you didn't have to accidentally read stuff that's part of the next item, or etc. And like I said, a chart with the price, the availability, things like that. It was just weird how they did that. Now, the creature section, phenomenal. Absolutely love this. All the creatures have, more or less the same kind of stats they did in the old books, but you get a nice picture of each creature. A lot of them are kind of almost exactly Dungeons and Dragons monsters, but with mutations and little changes here and there, and sometimes something that you think is a bad guy isn't, and other things that you think would be the good guys aren't. But it's got plants, animals, and monsters, as well as the androids, and some really nice it's small artwork. But here, let me pick one of my favorites. These guys right here. The Karen, spelled with a C. Can you focus in on these guys? They remind me of those bad guys from Dark Crystal, those evil crow, raven sort of creatures. These little guys right here. They make for a great reoccurring villain race. You getting that? These little guys right here. Okay, let me read real quick. Number 1 to 4, a D4 minus 2. You really should run into like just swarms of these guys. Morale D4 plus 6. Hit dice 15 D8. Think about that. If that was in D&D, that would just be frightening. Armor 7, land speed, air speed, blah blah blah. There's actual stats. Their mental strength, dex, con, intelligence, charisma, physical strength, the attacks, the mutations. Karens are 3-meter tall mutated vultures weighing about 50 kilograms. Each Karen has D4 Bloodbird followers. They are highly intelligent. Their quills are coated with an intensity level 12 contact poison to which they are immune. Despite the name, etc., I'm not going to go into that because you could go all day over that. They should be blonde, I guess. But all of the monsters have that kind of detail. It may seem like not a lot of information, but when you're looking at it up close and personal, it's all you need. And they like these art images so much they actually reuse them in 3rd edition, which I'm going to go over next week. Don't worry, that one's going to be short because I just don't like 3rd edition. A lot of people do, not me. 2nd edition will probably, 2nd or 4th edition would probably be the version I would run, but I still need to finish reading 4th edition because it's I have it on a PDF. I don't actually have the physical copy, which is a shame. But I found a free PDF copy, so I'm just gonna run with that. As in reading it to review for you guys. I'm gonna try and get a copy, but I really don't want to pay more than $20 for a game I might not run. So I'll read it, and then the robots. Oh my God. Okay, this robot here, I know the little guy can get a better shot of that picture. This is just a death machine. This is just right out of, Robotech or something else like that. It's just nasty. Just if you throw one of these at your players and you don't give them a way out, you are a bad mutant master or game master or whatever we call referees of Gamma World. But I'm going to read real quick a little bit of the details of this one when the little guy gives me the okay. All right, listen to this. This is a wandering monster. Let's just call it the Death Machine. Number a D4 minus 2. Hope you roll a 1. That's all I'm going to say. Hit dice 150 D8 in hit points. Yeah, you and your laser rifles and your AKs and your machine guns and maybe a couple of missile launchers are going to take this thing out. Yeah, maybe in about a week if it just sits there. Armor 1, power B, blah blah blah. Intelligence a D8 plus 10. Hope you roll that 1 because you want a dumb robot if you're gonna have to fight it. This 15-meter long, 8-meter wide, 3-meter high killing machine is covered with knobby protrusions housing sensors and weapons. Its main weapons are 2 blaster cannons that do oh my god, that do 25 D6 damage at 1,500 meter range. For close defense, it has 6 black ray guns. And for those of you who don't know, black ray guns, they just smoke you. They just go after hit points. You're dead. Just zap, gone. You can survive, but that's what they were meant for. With a 300-meter range, 4 Trek guns that do the same damage as Trek bombs and have a range of 180 meters, and 16 Mark 7 blaster batteries with 4 guns each. That's enough to take out all of the Gamma World characters currently playing in existence right now. Okay, one shot, which they're all the Gamma World players are dead. 8 laser batteries, 5 guns each, that do 20 D6 damage per battery at 1,500 meter range, and can fire simultaneously 6 mini missile launchers with 5D20 missiles fired individually, and a fusion bomb launcher with 5D10 fusion bombs. Both the missiles and the fusion bombs have a 3,000 meter range. An energy dampening field fuses the circuits of robots coming within 80 meters of the Death Machine, and does 200 points of damage to all energy screens except its own within the range. The Death Machine's own energy screen can take 400 points of damage. That's basically each turn. It just 400 points. Okay, I take nothing. Death Machines are very rare and will only be found near CIs that are assigned to defend and from which they take orders. They almost always attack those who can't show stage 5 ID, which is, I think, 5 or 6 is the highest. So if you don't have one of those and you see one like 2 miles off, just turn around and go the opposite direction. Just get the hell out of the way of these things, because this is just, this could take out like a horde of dragons in Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, like, you throw 20 dragons at this thing and they're going to be smoked in the first melee round. Just 20 dragons gone. It's just why it's even in here for any normal sort of game, I can't imagine. Even if you had a party of 8 player characters all armed with the absolute best equipment in the game, forget it. This thing is just going to laugh at you. But it's still kind of fun to think, that, maybe someday, you could find a way to, sneak past it, because fighting it, on a regular, without tanks and aircraft and other things at your disposal, just, I know I'm going on and on about the monster, that particular baddie, but I just couldn't believe I was reading what I was reading. There are very few monsters in the old days, or robots or anything like that, that's like that. Even in Gamma World, the original version, I don't think it was quite that nasty. Now, one of my other favorite monsters, the Ob. I just love these guys. There's something about them. They're just super, super cool looking monsters. And before I finish, I wanted to go over real quick the character sheet. This is just great. This is a great character sheet. You got your stats, you got your hit points, places for all your equipment, followers, hirelings, physical mutations, mental mutations, although you really should have had a little bit more room for that. But I suppose if you photocopy this, you can write that on the back. But it's a really, really nice character sheet. And on the last page, easy to photocopy, easy to fill out and get everything. There's no this plus this equals that kind of nonsense for your stats and your abilities and your skills, which, as you notice, there are no skills. You don't need them. You want to try to do something, you roll a die based on a stat. If you roll under, I think you actually have to roll percentage maybe. So you have like, a 10 to 15% chance of doing anything that's not normal. So you just do the normal crap. Just, search, look for monsters, kill them, take their stuff, move on. Interact with the NPCs and basically have a good post-apocalyptic good time as much as you can. Try not to think about, the gory, gritty, actual, details. Of course, this game is supposed to take place hundreds of years after, the fall. But, for whatever reason, I'm kind of in that kind of a mood to, play this sort of a game right now. Having watched, Silent Running, Sun and Green, Rollerball. Now I'm going to try and find A Boy and His Dog and a couple other post-apocalyptic movies. Cherry 2000, Mad Max, a couple more, lend themselves to this era. Which is a shame they didn't have an appendix in here, stating all the cool movies of the time that you could watch for inspiration. But all in all, I really, really enjoyed this game. And this is so far my favorite version of the three that I've gone through so far, and a little bit of Era 4. Although I did really like the alternity system, but unfortunately I let that go a long, long time ago, and I really wish I hadn't, but I don't think I'm going to be going back and trying to get those hardback books because they were pretty expensive then and they're still expensive now. So for a cheap, quick, maybe, 10 games campaign, maybe a little longer if you're lucky, I definitely recommend this version of Gamma World so far over all the others. So for all of us here at Shadow and Sun, I hope you guys give this game a try if you have it. If not, find a way to get it. Give it a try. Maybe not right away. Whenever you're in the mood, when you think Gamma World, think second edition. So until next time, folks, have a great week and a great weekend. It's going to be a pretty busy week for us. Thanks to everybody hanging out with us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys real soon. Bye.